Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Utapatakamelam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्द राधाकान्द नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः हरे कृष्णा हरि ओम तत्सत. So welcome all the devotees for today's Srimad Bhagavad Gita class. We are reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 18, text 58 onwards. Macchitta sarva durgani mat prasada tarishyasi अथचेत्वम् अहंकारं न श्रोष्यसि विनक्ष्यसि मच्चित्ता सर्वदुर्गाणि मत्प्रसादात् तरिष्यसि अथचेत्वम् अहंकारान् न श्रोष्यसि विनक्ष्यसि. Okay. Sachi Mataji and Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
मच्चित्ता सर्वदुर्गाणि मत्प्रसादात् तरिष्यसि अदाचेत्वम् अहङ्कारान् नो नाश्रोष्यसि विनाक्ष्यसि. Prabhu, I'll read the translation also. Prabhu has come.
Okay.
Translation was by His Divine Grace, A.C. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost.
Very good. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. So what Krishna says, that if he becomes conscious of Krishna, all the obstacles can be removed from the conditioned life by my grace. Okay. By my grace. So that is very important. Without his grace, without his blessings, we cannot get things done at all. Not our own endeavor, not our own efforts. That is not possible. Okay. Our effort should definitely be there. At the same time, his grace also should be there. Without his grace, nothing will work. We may work, we may put in effort, a lot of effort, but if we are not deserving the result, we will not get it. So unless and until we have the grace of Krishna, we will not attain success in any activities. So that's why it's very, very good point that Krishna says, without his grace, nothing is possible. By my grace only, you can pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life. So you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. So Krishna says to Arjuna also, Mam Anusmaran Yudhyacha. Think of me and fight. Not just fight. Always have the consciousness of me, then fight. That means we are fighting for his satisfaction. So that's one important thing. However, you do not work in such consciousness. What consciousness? That without thinking of him, but act through false ego. What is that? What does he mean by this? Through false ego. Not hearing me, you will be lost. So what exactly he meant by mentioning this word false ego? That you act through false ego. What does he mean by that?
Thinking like he's the doer of all his activities.
Yes, exactly. If he thinks that I am the doer, then you'll be lost. Yes, we know that for any activity, there are few criteria that we have to meet. What are those criteria? That the immediate doer is the person who wants to get that things done. The person who initiate that activity, that's immediate doer. Then there is an intermediate doer. That is the circumstances or the three modes of material nature with which he is doing that activity. Okay, that is the intermediate doer. And the ultimate doer is the sanctioner, the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So all these three, not only his effort, but the conducive atmosphere, conducive environment should be there. And plus the sanction of the Supreme Lord should be there for the activity to be successful. So he should not think that I am the doer. I am the reason for everything. It's because of me. Nobody is there. No other person's role is there. I am a self-made man. I succeeded in my endeavor. Nobody can take the credit. That is not the case. In that case, what will happen? You will be lost. That's what Krishna wants to convey. So a person in full Krishna consciousness is not unduly anxious about executing the duties of his existence. The foolish cannot understand this great freedom from all anxiety. For one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna becomes the most intimate friend. Just like Draupadi thought first initially that she could save herself. She tried her level best. She couldn't do. Then she depended on the strength of her 5 husbands. They couldn't do anything. Then she depended on Bhishma Pitamaha, Dronacharya, Dhritarashtra, like that. Nobody could. Who could help? Only Krishna. So without his grace, she could not come out of this situation, isn't it? So it's a must that we have to depend on, rely upon the mercy of the Supreme Lord. This doesn't mean that we should not put in our efforts. We have to put in our efforts, but at the same time, we need the grace of the Supreme Lord. So he always looks after his friend's comfort and he gives himself to his friend who is so devotedly engaged working 24 hours a day to please the Lord. So the devotee knows that his activity should please the Supreme Lord, okay, whereby he also gets happiness. So the primary motto is to satisfy the Supreme Lord, not satisfy our senses. Therefore, no one should be carried away by the false ego of the bodily concept of life. One should not falsely think himself independent of the laws of material nature or free to act. We are all bound in the network of 3 modes of material nature, isn't it? We cannot come out of this net unless and until we take complete shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if we take his shelter completely, then definitely, it will be very easy to come out. So, but as soon as he acts in Krishna consciousness, he is liberated, free from the material perplexities. One should note very carefully that one who is not active in Krishna consciousness is losing himself in the material whirlpool, in the ocean of birth and death. Okay, he will be bound to this material world in the bhavasagara, janma mrityu jara vyadi, if he is not taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. If it depends on his ability, on his capacity, on his effort, he'll be totally lost. No conditioned soul actually knows what he is to be done and what is not to be done. But a person who acts in Krishna consciousness is free to act because everything is prompted by Krishna from within and confirmed by the spiritual master. So Krishna is giving a clear-cut instruction to Arjuna that unless and until take complete shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no guarantee that he will succeed in his endeavor. Definitely, without his blessing, without his grace, he will not succeed. How much ever he may put in effort, his grace should always be there. That is what Krishna wants to convey through this verse. Any questions, any points?
No, no Prabhu.
So we'll move on to the next. 59. Yadahankaramashritya nayochya idi manyase मिथ्यैसा व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिस्त्वां नियोक्ष्यति यदहंकारमाश्रित्य न योत्स्या इति मन्यसे मिथ्यैसा व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिस्त्वां नियोक्ष्यति. Mayuri Mataji and Vandana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yad ahankaram ashritya na yotsya iti manyase mithyaishya vyavasayaste prakritistvam niyokshati.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare.
Very good. If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. So Krishna is warning Arjuna that if you do not follow my instruction or my direction and do not fight, you will be falsely directed. I mean, your destination, you will be led in a wrong way. Why? By your nature, you will have to be engaged in fight. He said Kshatriya. Kshatriya will fight. If there is any injustice happening in society, if he sees that, witnesses that, definitely he'll fight. He cannot stay away from fighting when he sees some adharma. Isn't it? So that's why he's warning. You cannot, because being, you have a, Kshatriya. Kshatriya is in the mode of which mode?
Passion Prabhuji.
Passion. Kshatriya is in the mode of passion. Passion means aggressive. And if any injustice happens, they cannot bear it. They will fight. Because of that, it's better you follow my direction and you engage in this warfare for upholding the dharma. Even if you want to go to the forest and make a livelihood by begging, you won't be able to do it. That's what he was planning initially, isn't it? Why should I fight? Let me make my livelihood by begging. He may go, he may do that, but if he sees any injustice is taking place, he will immediately take his knife or sword or gandiva and he will start fighting. So how can a beggar be in the mode of fighting? It's virodhabhas, isn't it? So he cannot do the begging business also because he is a Kshatriya. So it is better, since you are a Kshatriya, since you are a princely class, you do your duty as a Kshatriya. That's what Krishna is telling. So Arjuna was a military man and born of the nature of the Kshatriya. Therefore, his natural duty was to fight. But due to false ego, he was fearing that by killing his teacher, grandfather, and friends, he would incur sinful reactions. So what was that false ego that you had? What was the false ego? Because of which he was fearing by killing his teacher, grandfather, and friends, he would incur sinful reactions. What was it based on? The false ego.
Bodily conception.
Bodily conception. Can you elaborate that?
Yeah, he did not think as they were all his spirit souls, Prabhu. He was thinking that, they are guru. If I kill them, then they will lose their body. It is like losing them. But they are already eternal. So they are just changing their body. He did not understand that.
Very good.
That is why.
Yes, Mallory, very good. Yeah, right, exactly. So he was on a bodily conception. He took them, as his extensions on a bodily level. He never considered the soul, who is the eternal living being. The soul doesn't change, but the body keeps changing. So keeps changing. This relationship is only for this lifetime. You cannot take this relationship for eternity. So because of that only, he was, oh no, I should not kill my teacher, I should not kill my grandfather, I should not kill my. It's not that he is whimsically killing. Whimsically killing is not allowed. It is prohibited. But it is not whimsical killing. It is to uphold dharma on the instruction of the superior. And here the superior is the personality of God himself, to uphold dharma. So that way he will not incur any sinful reaction. He did not think that way. He forgot that. So actually he was considering himself master of his actions, as if he were directing the good and bad results of such work. So he was thinking he was the doer, and he is the reason for the bad or good result. He was used as an instrument in the hands of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That was the mistake that he did. He because of the false ego, he thought that he was the doer, and the good and bad reaction will come to him. And it was a whimsical decision. It was not a whimsical decision by Arjuna. It was the instruction of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, to uphold the dharma. And thus, as far as Arjuna is concerned, he was thinking that what he was going to do was adharma. Okay, but in the eyes of Lord Krishna, even that so-called adharma is a dharma. Okay, it's externally it may look that he was doing adharma, but it's not adharma, it is dharma, because it is coming, the instruction is coming directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He forgot that Supreme Personality of Godhead was present there, instructing him to fight. That is a forgetfulness of the conditioned soul. Supreme Personality of God, personality gives directions as to what is good and what is bad, and one simply has to act in Krishna consciousness to attain the perfection of life. No one can ascertain his destiny as the Supreme Lord can. Therefore, the best course is to take direction from the Supreme Lord and act. No, we don't have any access to the Supreme Lord. So what are we supposed to do? How can we take action? We can just follow Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. The instruction given in this Bhagavad Gita is not just meant for Arjuna, it is meant for all of us. So we can take instruction from Bhagavad Gita. We can take instruction from Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. So we should not Arjuna had Supreme Personality of Godhead himself by his side, but we don't have. So how can we take the decision? We can take the decision on the strength of the scriptures and as per Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So no one can ascertain his destiny as the Supreme Lord can. Therefore, the best course is to take direction from the Supreme Lord and act. No one should neglect the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the order of the spiritual master, who is the representative of God. One should act unhesitatingly to execute the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That will keep one safe under all circumstances. Any points or any questions here? You will go to the next text 60. Swabhavajena kaunteya nibabdha swena karmana kartum nechasi yanmohat karishyasi avasopitat. Swabhavajena kaunteya nibabdha swena karmana kartum nechasi yanmohat Karishyasi avasopitad. Okay, Tarini Mataji and Prince Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Yes.
स्वभावजेन कौन्तेय निबद्धस्वेन कर्मणा कर्तुं नेच्छसि यन्मोहात् करिष्यस्य वशोऽभितत्. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Bol.
Pranam.
Hare Bol. Yes, Prabhu. Prince Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Translation. Under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction. But compelled by the work born of your own nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti.
Hare Bol. Under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction. What is the illusion here? Prince Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Illusion is he is thinking that he is going to kill. He thinks he is the doer.
Yes. Very good. Yeah. So he's thinking that he is the cause for their destruction. He is the doer. He is going to kill them. So all these are all illusion. These are all on the bodily level. Under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction, but still compelled by the work born of your own nature. What nature?
That he is Kshatriya.
Passion.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Kshatriya. Okay, one of your nature, because he is Kshatriya, he is in the mode of passion. You will act all the same, even though you may decline now, but you cannot stop showing your true color as a Kshatriya. Okay, when the right requirement arises, okay, when need arises, definitely he will take sword or Gandhi or he'll fight. He cannot beg. Can he beg and leave? No, because it's Kshatriya. His blood will boil when any injustice happens. He is there to protect the citizens. How can he just watch if they are being harassed by others, by the evil-minded people? So, however, you will act, you will show your true color because you are Kshatriya. O son of Kunti, Krishna is telling him. So if one refuses to act under the direction of the Supreme Lord, then is compelled to act by the modes in which he is situated. He cannot stay away from that. Even if he refuses to act as per the instruction of the superiors, he will act according to the modes with which he is influenced. Everyone is under the spell of a particular combination of the modes of nature and is acting in that way. But anyone who voluntarily engages himself under the direction of the Supreme Lord becomes glorious. So the best thing is to just surrender totally to the Supreme Lord, to the supervisor. Here it is Krishna, so that he can become glorious. So text 61. Ishvara sarva bhutanam vriddesya arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yandrarudhani mayaya. Mayuri Mataji and Vandana Mataji. Prabhu is there?
No, Prabhuji. He is still in office. Prabhuji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hrideshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarunani mayaya.
Very good.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and they directed the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Entra Rudani Maya. Okay. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. Okay. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam, the Supreme Lord, is there in every living entity as Paramatma, situated within the region of heart. Hirdeshe Arjuna Tishtati. Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani. And what he does? he is overseeing the wandering of all living entities. All living entities. And this living entity is just like how made of the material, who are seated as on a machine, made of the material energy. What is the machine here?
Our
Grass.
body, Prabhuji.
Yes, our body. Just like, just like the hardware is there and the software is there. Okay. Hardware is the physical body, software is the soul, for example. Without the software, the hardware will not work, isn't it? So it's just like a machine only. If there is no soul, this is dead material. And we feel energized, we feel active, and we can do so many works with our limbs just because the soul is present in the body. So it is lively, isn't it? We can communicate each other. We can work from one place to another place. We can hear the sound. We can see so many things. We can feel so many things. We can think. This all why? This all done by the matter, the material elements. Who is thinking, willing, feeling, walking, doing all the activities? Is it the soul, or who is doing all these things? Because of the presence of the soul, the material elements, the senses, the bodily limbs can function. Otherwise, it is not possible to function. So these living entities, in the heart of these living entities, the Lord is situated, and he is directing the wandering of all the living entities. Where it has to go, what is the destination, what it should do, everything is being directed by the Supreme Lord. Just like a film is directed by the director, isn't it? The actors are all acting as per the instruction that they get from the director. Similarly, we have a Supreme Director. Now he is directing our all functions. They are just like puppets, in his hands. So Arjuna was not the supreme knower, and his decision to fight or not to fight was confined to his limited discretion. Lord Krishna instructed that the individual is not all in all, Supreme Personality of Godhead, or he himself, Krishna, as the localized super soul, sits in the heart directing the living being. After changing bodies, the living entity forgets his past deeds, but the super soul, as the knower of the past, present, and future, remains the witness of all his activities. Okay. So Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto matha smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Sitting in the hearts of every living entity, and he is giving the knowledge, the remembrance, and forgetfulness. Isn't it? It's not because of our own efforts or endeavor that we can remember, or we have the good memory, or we can forget. It's all he is directing. He is witnessing everything. Okay. Upadrashta Anumanta. He is doing two activities. He is witnessing all the activities that we are doing, and is sanctioning whatever is required. This is what he is doing, sitting in the heart. So the living entity gets what he deserves, what is carried by the material body, which is created in the material energy under the direction of the super soul. Yoga Kshemam Mahamiham. He preserves what we have, and he gives what we lack. Isn't it? As soon as a living entity is placed in a particular type of body, he has to work under the spell of that bodily situation. So a dog has to act in a particular way, isn't it? A dog has to bark. So who gives this ability? It is the Supreme Lord. It has to sleep at a particular time, it will sleep. Under whose direction? The Supreme Lord, sitting in the heart of that living entity, directs that living entity. So that's why as soon as a living entity is placed in a particular type of body, he has to work under the spell of that bodily situation. The dog cannot act like a human being, nor a human being can act like a dog. Yes, nowadays people are acting like a dog also. That is the unfortunate situation. Okay? That's why we are all called two-legged animals. We are in this body, we are in the body of a human, but we are acting like animals. But definitely the dogs cannot act like human. That is next to impossible. We can we can become, like dogs or any other animals. If you are not following the scriptural injunction, then definitely we are two-legged animals. So a person seated in a high-speed motor car goes faster than one seated in a slower car. Though the living entities, the drivers, may be the same. Similarly, by the order of the Supreme Soul, material nature fashions a particular type of body to a particular type of living entity so that he may work according to his past desire. So why do they get a particular body? Because of their particular karma, particular desire. So they want to enjoy in a particular way. They want to live in a particular way. So they get a befitting body according to their desire and karma. So that's why it said according to his past desires. The living entity is not independent. One should not think himself independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I cannot decide that what body I should get next life. I cannot choose, oh, okay, I want to become a sheikh, I want to become a president, I want to become a film star. I cannot choose that. Can I? I cannot. So it all depends on my activity and my desires and the sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are not independent to choose what we require. The individual is always under the Lord's control. Therefore, one's duty is to surrender, and that is the injunction of the next verse. So the individual is always dependent. Only the Lord is independent. Individual, the living entities are all dependent on the Supreme Soul, Supreme Whole. Therefore, one's duty is to surrender, and that is the injunction of the next verse. Text 62. तमेव चरणं गच्छ सर्वभावेन भारत तत्प्रसादात् परं शान्तिं स्थानं प्राप्स्यसि शाश्वतम् तमेव शरणं गच्छ सर्वभावेन भारत तत्प्रसादात् परं शान्तिं स्थानं प्राप्स्यसि शाश्वतम्. Okay, Vandana Mataji and Sachi Mataji.
Hare Krishna. तमेव शरणं गच्छ सर्वभावेन भारत तत्प्रसादात् परां शान्तिं स्थानं प्राप्स्यसि शाश्वतम्.
Very good.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, translation.
Hare Krishna.
Ocean of Bharata, surrender onto him utterly. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode.
Very good.
Hare Krishna.
Ocean of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. So Krishna is instructing Arjuna to surrender unto him. Who is that unto him? To Supreme Lord Krishna only. And by his grace, you can come to the platform of transcendence and you will attain peace and the eternal abode of the Supreme Lord. A living entity should therefore surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart, and that will relieve him from all kinds of miseries of the material existence. By such surrender, not only will he be released from all miseries in this life, but at the end, he will reach the Supreme God. Okay, that is in the coming verse. We'll learn the Sarvadharman Paritijya Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. Okay. Surrender, Sarvadharman, leave aside all so-called, dharmas. The topmost dharma is what? To surrender unto him. That is the topmost. So all other dharmas are subservient to this one dharma. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yado bhaktir ahaituki. Yado bhaktir adokshaje ahaituki apratihada yayatma suprasidhati. Okay, what is parodharma? Savai pumsam. So the parodharma, the supreme occupation of all the people is, what is that? Ahaituki apratihada yayatma suprasidhati. Okay. That is, without any interruption or without any reason, without any motivation, one should surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Adokshaja. That's what Krishna wants him to do. By such surrender, not only will one be released from all miseries in this life, but at the end, he will reach Supreme God. The transcendental world is described in the Vedic literature, Rig Veda, as Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. Since all of creation is the kingdom of God, everything material is actually spiritual. But Paramam Padam specifically refers to the eternal abode, which is called the spiritual sky or Vaikuntha. Everything is related to the Supreme. So everything is spiritual in a way. When we use these things in His service, that becomes spiritual. Any material thing. How we can make out what is spiritual, what is material? When we use the things in our sense gratification, it is material. When we use the same thing in the service of Supreme Lord, it becomes spiritual. That's the only difference. So in a way, we have to understand there is nothing material. Everything is, given by the Supreme Lord. Everything belongs to Supreme Lord. So everything is spiritual only. It is we who make it, material and spiritual. When we make it or when we use it for our sense gratification, it is material. When we use it for the Lord's sense gratification, not sense gratification, for serving the senses of Supreme Lord, then it is spiritual. So as Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam, since all of creation is the kingdom of God, everything material is actually spiritual. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahman. Everything is spiritual. But Paramam Padam specifically refers to the eternal abode. So here, the meaning of that particular phrase is that it is the Supreme Lord's abode, which is called the spiritual sky or Vaikuntha. In the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Sarvasya chaham niti sannivishto mathasmiti jnanam apohanam cha vedesya sarve rahameva vedyo vedanta kridveda videvacham. Lord is seated in everyone's heart. Sarvasya cha aham. Hridhi sannivishto. Hridhi means the heart. Sannivishta means is present. Sarvasya of all living entities. So Lord is seated in everyone's heart. So this recommendation that one should surrender unto the super soul sitting within means that one should surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna has already been accepted by Arjuna as the Supreme. So Arjuna has declared that Supreme Lord is the Supreme in the 10th chapter as Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan in that sloka. Arjuna has accepted Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead and the Supreme Abode of all living entities, not only because of his personal experience, but also because of the evidence of great authorities like Narada, Ashita, Devala, and Vyasa. So which is that sloka? That Arjuna says, not me alone, all these great personalities has confirmed that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Which is that sloka?
It's a Ahustam Rishya Sarva.
Yes.
Devashi Naradastata
Ashito.
Asita Devalo Vyasa.
Swayam Chaiva Pravishin. Swayam Chaiva
Yeah.
Pravishin.
Pravishin. Yes.
Okay. Very good.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you repeat this sloka, please?
Yeah, Arjuna says Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adi Devam Ajam Vibham, Ahustum Rishaye Sarve, Devarshi Nardastada, Ashito devalo vyaso soyam chaiva pravishime. This is in the 10th chapter.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So text 63. Iti te jnanamakhyatam guhyat guhyataram maya vimrasyaitat asheshena yatechasasi tata kuru. Iti te jnanamakhyatam guhyat guhyataram maya vimrasyaitat asheshena yatechasi tata kuru. Okay. Then Tarini Mataji and Prince Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
ज्ञानम् अज्ञातं गुह्यात् गुह्यतरं मया विमृश्यैतत् अशेषेण यथेच्छसि तथा गुरु. Hare Krishna
Very
Prabhuji.
good.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Translation. Thus, I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do.
Very good. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, thus I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do. This is a final, final words, final instructions is giving. So he gave 3 different types of knowledge. What are those?
Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga.
Yeah, that is there. But 3 levels of knowledge. Okay, not 3 different types. 3 levels.
Guhyam, Guhyatam, and
Yes. Guhyam, Guhyataram, Guhyatamam. Confidential, more confidential, most confidential. Okay. So Guhya means confidential. Guhyataram means more confidential. And Guhyatamam is most confidential. So that's why here, thus I have explained to you, knowledge still more confidential. That is, in other words, most confidential. Guhya Tamam. So deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to. Even the Supreme Lord, see, we have to see the what do you call the liberty that Supreme Lord is giving us. I have told you what I have to tell you. Now it is your duty. Whatever you want to do, whatever you wish to do, you can do. The ball is in your court. I will not insist that you have to do this. I have told you the good and bad of all these different activities, and now you decide what you should do and what you should not do. He is not telling you have to do, Arjuna, this. So from that, what do we understand? Krishna is giving liberty to Arjuna. What is that?
Free will, Prabhu.
Yeah, free will, 100%. Krishna is not interfering in our free will. So that means one thing is sure, that we are not robots. If Krishna is not giving us the free will, we'll become like robots. Whatever it is programmed to do, it will do. He cannot think, he cannot will, he cannot feel. The robot cannot do these 3. No, the robot doesn't have the faculty of thinking, willing, feeling. Only the human being. And Krishna has given us the freedom to think, will, and feel, and do whatever is best for us. He is not interfering in our free will. So when he is not interfering in our free will, for the activity that we do, who is responsible and accountable? Who should be blamed?
ourselves.
Yeah, ourselves. We cannot blame Krishna. We cannot blame Krishna. Then People may argue, without Krishna's sanction, how we can do it? Why Krishna is sanctioning? Because we wanted it. So he says, Tathastu. It is our intense desire to do an activity in a particular way. So he said, Tathastu. So that's why we are responsible, we are accountable for every action. We cannot run away from that. The Lord has already explained to Arjuna the knowledge of Brahma Bhuta. One who is in the Brahma Bhuta condition is joyful. He never laments, nor does he desire anything. That is due to confidential knowledge. Krishna also discloses knowledge of the super soul. This is also Brahman knowledge. Knowledge of Brahman, but it is superior. Okay. So what is Brahma Bhuta means? What is Brahma Bhuta means?
One who never laments, Prabhu.
Yeah, but on that stage, one never laments or hanker for anything. But what is that stage called?
Self-realization stage, Prabhuji.
Yes, self-realization. To be
Self.
precise,
We are in the state of soul.
transcendental position beyond the three modes of material nature. Okay. That is Brahma Bhuta. We are not influenced by the three modes of material nature. We transcend the three modes, then we come to the Brahma Bhuta. And then Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na kankshadi na samkshadi. Yes, Arun Prabhu said, we will not lament or we will not hanker for anything in that state. We will be out of this dvanda, duality. Success and failure will not bother us. Good and bad will not bother us. Distress and happiness will not bother us. Now it is bothering us because we are within the clutches of the three modes of material nature. Okay. When success comes, we are too much elated. When distress comes, we are too much depressed. So that is what Krishna says. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na kankshadi na sochati. This is due to confidential knowledge. Krishna also discloses knowledge of the super soul. So he is also he has also given knowledge of the super soul to Arjuna. This is also Brahman knowledge of Brahman, but it is superior. Okay. So Brahman is also can be understood as Jivatma and Paramatma. Contextually, the meaning differs. But to be precise, Supreme Brahman means, Parabrahman means Supreme Lord only. They are just Brahman. So here the words Yadhechasi Tatha Guru. As you like, you may act. Indicate that God does not interfere with the little independence of the living entity. He doesn't interfere. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord has explained in all respects how one can elevate his living condition. The best advice imparted to Arjuna is to surrender unto the supreme super soul seated within his heart. By right discrimination, one should agree to act according to the order of the super soul. That will help one become situated constantly in Krishna consciousness. So if we are following the instruction of the super soul, then we are properly situated. Anusaran and Anukaran. Anukaran means imitating the Supreme Lord. Anusaran means following the instructions of Supreme. What we are supposed to do, Anukaran or Anusaran?
Anukaran, Prabhuji.
What is that?
Follow the instruction of Krishna, Prabhu.
What Tardi Mataji said?
Anukaran, Prabhuji.
No, Anusaran.
Sorry.
Anukaran means imitating.
Okay.
Anusaran means following the instructions, as Arun Prabhu said. Okay. Arjuna is being directly ordered by the personality of Godhead to fight. Surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in the best interest of the living entities. It is not for the interest of the Supreme. So when we surrender to the Supreme Lord, we are benefited. We are being elevated from this Maya Loga to Param Dhama, to Haridham. If you take surrender. If you don't surrender, we have to surrender to Maya. Option is ours. Surrender we have to do. We cannot escape from surrendering. Either surrender to Maya or surrender to Krishna. Which is best? Definitely surrendering to Krishna, because then we will get elevated to the spiritual abode. It is not for the interest of the Supreme. Before surrendering, one is free to deliberate on the subject as far as the intelligence goes. That is the best way to accept the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such instruction comes also to the spiritual master, the bona fide representative of Krishna. So this instruction we are getting through Krishna's representative. Okay, we don't have the fortune or luck of associating with the Supreme Lord directly, isn't it? So we can associate with his bona fide representative. We can associate with his instructions in the form of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. We can get instruction from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and from his bona fide representatives. So it's not necessary that Krishna will come personally to instruct us. Krishna may come in different shape and form. He will come as his representative, as his guru. He will come in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, like that scriptures, and he will give us instruction through that media also. So not necessarily he will come as a person, Krishna, then give us instruction. So we have to just follow the instructions, then act accordingly. That's what Krishna says. So 64 is next. We started from 58, right?
Yes, Prabhuji, we started from 58.
Okay, 58 to 63 we took.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyecha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय।